Me, my time is now. Just quit being so sarcastic about the greatest wrestler of all time.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Friday morning edition of the Brown Brown Show is on your radio. This, y'all, is the Fan Upstate. Welcome in. Happy Friday. How's everybody? Y'all doing all right? Y'all had a great week, I hope. So I don't know if you can see it, but look at my guy Mike Malone right now. That dude's just Mike. Like, I know he wants to be called Michael, but Mike Malone showed up with the flat bill cap cocked to the side, the big silver chain hanging on top of the t-shirt that said, "Stick that in your pipe and smoke it."
Looks more like a Mikey to me.
That is not Michael Malone. That's not even Mike Malone. That's my dog, Unc Mike. That's Unc. Look at Mike. Love it. How y'all doing? Everybody good? Everybody ready to rock and roll for the next 3 hours of sports talk, entertainment, greatness?
How you doing?
How y'all doing? Huh? Everybody good? Yeah, man. We got a day lined up today. A lot of things to get into, a lot of stuff to talk about on the radio broadcast today. We have got to get into the U.S. Open because Ricky Fowler's back. A U.S. Open low 62. Never before at a U.S. Open has anybody gone below 63. Rick did it yesterday, ... and so did Xander Schauffele.
They got to fix this. It's too easy. It's too easy. They got to change the courses. The scores are too low.
I guarantee you they do. Guarantee they do. First off, the grounds tenders had an emergency meeting last night at about 8 p.m. where they're like, everybody get out there and rough this course up. Second off, the guy who's got the cool thing where they like punch the new hole in the green and fill in the old one and all that, that guy had a field day last night.
What is that called? It's got to be, on the farm, it's a post hole digger.
Yeah,
but
it's a little fancier on the golf course. I do not know, but I know the dude that operates it went bananas last night. He's digging holes in the side of hills. On 13, the hole's not even going to be on the green. It's going to be 10
find
yards
this one, Ricky.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's going to be incredible. Xander Schauffele and Ricky Fowler both go 62. Nuts. Bananas. We're going to talk about that. U.S. Soccer, Tres a 0 winners over Mexico last night in a game that got ugly, violent, homophobic. It was just stellar. It was a rivalry game, my guys. So I've got a couple of things to talk about out of that one. And then, of course, right when we were all ready to celebrate a fat dub by the Yanks over El Tri, we find out that the U.S. Soccer Federation has decided to go full moron. And who are they hiring as their new head coach? Greg Berhalter. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Two guys leave because they had taken enough heat for hiring Berhalter the first time. They spend millions of dollars bringing in an analyst company to evaluate 10 different candidates from around the world, including a couple of very successful managers. And who did they decide to pull the trigger on? The same freaking dude that was already there. Cool, man. Super cool.
I'm really glad this happened because you don't like that guy. So you're going to have fuel for the entire time. He only led them to a victory last night. Was he the coach while they
No.
won last night? Okay. All right.
No.
All right.
BJ Callahan, the interim coach, was the coach last night. We did that under an interim coach.
I did watch highlights earlier, but I was just there for the fights.
There were plenty. There were plenty. So we're going to talk U.S. soccer later in the show. We got to get to the College World Series. It begins today, this afternoon, as the opening round of the College World Series gets going. We're going to talk about that. I'll give you some previews, projections, predictions later on in the show. Looking forward to that. But, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the fight of the day. It's not a fight. It's a debate. It's a discussion. I'm about to infuriate Ray.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, wait, who's fighting?
Mexico and the U.S. last night.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's not me and you. It's Ray. Okay.
Stick to sports guy is about to be outraged, but I am going to say this absolutely qualifies as a sports talk story. The Madison Muskallards.
Muskallards?
Yeah. It's a combination.
It's funny because the story I was telling you earlier, the last part of that name, that's that guy's name.
Apparently, Madison has a pair of baseball teams, the Mallards and the Musk, but they all play under one banner called the Muskallards. That's not the story. The story, I don't know where that came from. The story is that the Muskallards have decided to run a promotion. Now, the Muskallards are a collegiate summer league, like the Spartanburgers were, right? These are leagues propped up effectively as developmental leagues. It's a place for college players to go play amateur/semi-pro ball to develop themselves during the summertime so that they're ready to report when the next season shows up. But those have gotten somewhat popular, like the Savannah Bananas, for instance, because a lot of them go, yeah, but we can make this fun, right? Like, it doesn't have to be baseball. Like, we can have fun. We can goof off. We can have the pitcher do a TikTok dance before he throws a pitch because it's fun. It's a developmental league. They're still getting the opportunity to play ball and stay sharp. But, like, if we want this to sell, we got to put on a show. Well, the Muskallards have come up with a promotion to get people out to the ballpark. And I do wonder how you guys feel about this. The Muskallards.
There are two L's in Muskallard.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Muskallards. The Muskallards, a collegiate summer league, have started to sell 67 ounces of beer in a white wading hunting boot cup. All right. It's about that big. It is in the shape of so if you go hunting.
So if you want to know what that big is, you need to tune in to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, and you can actually see what that big is.
Yeah. Search the Fan Upstate on all of the media or the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. It's about yay big for those of you watching on the streaming. Good morning to all of you, by the way. 67 ounces of brewski into a cup that is shaped like a white rubber wading boot that you would go hunt mallards with. And
all right, I hate, but I need some knowledge here. So I know what wading boots are for fishing.
Yeah,
is it the same thing but like lower?
Same thing, but it's just a boot.
Okay,
yeah, it's made of the same stuff, but it's just the boot. And so, if you're going to hunt duck out in the swamp or out in the marsh, these are the boots you will wear when it's like ankle deep water. But you don't want to ruin a good pair of boots. You throw on the white waders. Back in Louisiana, we call them shrimping boots, right? You'd wear them on the boat because the boat deck's always got water on it from the waves and the shrimp and all that. We call them shrimping boots back in Louisiana. They'd be duck hunting boots, I guess, up in Wisconsin, where the Madison Mallards are playing. So 67 ounces of brewski in a hunting/shrimping boot cup. Now they're selling it by saying, hey, instead of making a run to the concession stand, between every inning for the first 5? Why not just get the boot, das Boot? Why not just get das Boot and get all 5 beers at once, and then you can hang out in your seat for 5 innings. Get 2 of them, it'll last you the whole game and the walk to the parking lot, right? Why not go that direction? 67 ounces, though, works out to be a half beer shy of a 6-pack. All right? So you're basically bringing a 6er back to the seat. You're getting 5.5 beers in one trip. But there are some tactics here that have to be considered. Because on one hand, I don't have to make 5 concession runs to get 5 beers. Now, when Rob Brown goes to the ballpark, in fact, I'll be at the Greenville Drive game tonight. When Rob Brown goes to the ballpark, the strategy for Rob is I get 2 brewskis on the way to the seat. Those are usually going to last me about 3 innings. End of the 3rd, I'll get 2 more. That'll usually carry me to the end of the 6th. Most parks stop selling beer in the 7th inning, so then I go get 1 more, and that lasts me from the 7th to the end of the game. Because at that point, like I've hit my cap on beer.
All right, so 67 ounces. How many trips to the restroom was that?
Well, here's the other part of the strategy, because there's multiple parts to this. The second part is this. Like, for instance, when I go to the Drive game tonight, I am not going to drink a lot of water between here and the start of the game, because I want to go to floor with an empty tank. Because there's the old expression about breaking the seal, right? Once you break the seal, the waterworks are on. Once you go the first time, there's no stopping. So my goal is to make it as deep into the game as possible. So I'm not worried about that, because I know if I'm going to get Das Boot at the Madison Mallards game, that I'm not drinking a ton of water going into it, so that once I get through the first 32 ounces of beer, I'm not having to run to the bathroom, because that kind of negates it, right? Like, the point of a 67-ounce beer is I've only got to go to the concession stand at the very most twice. But honestly, 5 beers is about the limit for where Rob Brown's like, all right, I'm done with beer. About 5's where I'm like, I've had enough. I'm not out of it mentally, but I'm just full. All right? Now, I will also say, for the sake of everyone listening at home, Rob Brown also is 6'3", 255, and comes from an Irish family. All right? So 67 ounces of beer to me is like 16 ounces of beer to a lot of other people. So the play here is I go to the concession stand, I get 1 beer, bang, I'm done for the day, right? It's going to cost me $30, but I bought all my beer for the show. I'm in for the game. I don't need to go back to the concession stand. I get my nachos, my big beer, I'm set. But there is a trade-off here. And the trade-off is that by the 5th inning, I'm going to be working the bottom quarter of that cup. It's not going to be cold anymore, right? I'm going to have slightly cold, more likely room temperature beer at the end of this beer. So my poll for those of you that, like me, love a good brewski at the ballpark, my question mark is this. Do you go all 5 beers up front in 1 big cup? Do you go all 5 beers up front and have the last of your beer be lukewarm? Or do you go to the concession stand 5 different times, but all your beer is ice cold? Because ice cold beer is the way to go. That's the way you want it, ice cold. So better to get 5 beers up front via 1 trip to the concession stand, or 5 ice cold beers, but you got to get up and go to the concession stand 5 times during the game. What's the play here? And don't say, Rob, I would do like 1, because you can only get 2 beers at a time. Madison circumvented this by going, yeah, you can have 1 beer, but it's 5.5 beers in a cup. But don't hit me with, well, I would go and I would get 3 beers. Can't do that. You can get 2 beers at a time. And if you get 2 beers at a time, unless you are banging back the brewskis faster than they are warming up, in which case you got to either A, drink more than 5.5 beers, or B, recognize you're done with beer by the 6th inning. My question becomes 5 trips to the concession stand, but all the beer is ice cold, or 1 trip for a 67-ounce beer, but the end of that brewski is going to be a little warmer than you like. What's the right play here? That's today's hashtag Fight on Air. Let's take a break. We have got a lot to get to. When we come back, we have got to get to Clemson. They are winning recruiting battles. We've talked about that. Now they're starting to win recruiting battles for the 2025 class as well. Big name attaches itself to the LT Grays. We'll talk about that when we come back. We got to get to this U.S. v. Mexico soccer match last night, Gold Cup semifinals. The Americans are on to the Gold Cup finals. They will be doing it without 2 of their best players. Why? I'm going to tell you that coming up on the show. College Baseball World Series previews, predictions, and discussion coming up later in the show. We're going to be slammed up, y'all. So get in here. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Yeah, so honestly, I think that's the way I'm leaning, Keegan. Like, stretch my legs, fine, whatever. Like, there's going to be parts of the game I'm going to stand up and I'm fine. Even if I drink nothing all day, although I will say this, I'm going to brag about this on air. Dumb thing to brag about. I made it through the whole Spider-Man movie without having to pee. I was very proud of myself. Very proud of myself. And yes, warm beer is gross. That is absolutely, fundamentally, and entirely correct.
I did not make it through the entire Flash movie without having to pee. I just want to point that out.
Businesses of all types can qualify, including medical, professional, construction, even nonprofits. Please don't miss out on this. Even your doctor would tell you to get an expert second opinion, and we do a lot of work for doctors. Download the Innovation Refunds app now, or go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of $26,000 per employee. Getrefunds.com. Getrefunds.com.
Growing a business brings pressure.
It has its flaws, Steven, but I really liked it. I will tell you, and I'll break it down big time tomorrow night on the Upstate Pulse. But audience demographics was interesting, and their reactions. I will tell you, there were multiple times of applause, and in wrestling terms, a really big heel pop at one point in the movie. But I didn't see anyone or hear anyone walking out of the movie go, man, this sucks. I can't believe I paid money for this.
Go to Windows.com to find our line of craft condiments at Walmart and other fine retailers. And right now, get a 10-pack of our best-selling sauces for free shipping at Windows.com. 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 I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10.
Did you answer, Keegan?
And in 3 weeks,
Just because I'm curious.
you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
CGI is a problem, and to the point I could see where a lot of people would complain about it. The story is excellent, though. This is one of the times where I think the story can make you not completely forget about the CGI problems, but be like, okay. And also I think you go into this movie realizing that this is it for that part of the DCU, because it's going to be totally different going forward under James Gunn. So there were a lot of surprises in it, and I think that helped to balance it out. But the CGI at the very beginning of the movie, it's like, okay, is this going to be how this movie is going to be? Then it fixes itself for the most part. It's one of those cases where I think practical effects would have been so much more. But considering the age of some of the actors or actor,
yeah,
you know, I will say this, not a Batman movie.
it's a Batman movie.
Oh, it's not. The trailer makes it look like that, but Batman does not have as much screen time as you think.
Then I'm out.
He has enough, but
If Arnold is in it as Mr. Freeze.
dude, I'm not saying anything.
Trey Cicero, your final last night as the U.S. men's national soccer team knocks off Mexico in the Gold Cup semifinals. They will be on to the finals, where they will take on America's hat, Canada, and Mexico will drop down to the third place game, where they will take on Panama. And that's great. That's just super duper good. Okay. I loved it. It was a wonderful game until it wasn't, because it got a little dicey towards the end of that matchup. We had we have multiple different incidents go on last night. The U.S. men's national team, let's start with the important part. The important part is that the U.S. has established itself as the dominant North American team, right? Canada's very good. Mexico is still good, but the American team has now showed that the best team in North America belongs to the United States, A, and B, it showed last night that the gap in talent between the U.S. and Mexico is growing, which is great. Good. That's what I want to see. It showed that the Americans have found some aggression, getting the ball into the box and then making a play with it. The score line was 3-0. And in all honesty, it should have been 4, because in the first half, Christian Pulisic, who had the 2-goal brace, nearly had the hat trick as he beat Ochoa, but then he put the pitching wedge under the ball and sent it up over the crossbar on what should have been everything but a gimme goal. He just blew it. He rectified that. He ended up getting 2 more to make it Dos Cicero to give the 2-0 lead to the Americans. They would find their final goal very late in the game when Ricardo Pepi, after the teams went 10v10 due to a couple of red cards, we're coming to that in a minute, also stuck one in to the back of the strings as well. That was all well and good. But unfortunately, that got overshadowed. Listen, I just want to talk about a 3-0 win over the rival. I just want to talk about a 3-0 win over a team that for so many years gave the Americans hell. I want to talk about the fact that I believe, top of my head, that is now 7 consecutive matches that Mexico has not been able to defeat the United States. There's been a couple of draws, a few U.S. wins. Christian Pulisic has been lights bleeping out against Mexico. It's a run. It's a streak of unbeatens against Mexico right now. And I want to talk about all of that because as an American soccer fan, yay. That's really good. That's what I'm looking for. But that's not what ended up being the story of the night last night. The story of the night was what happened when it got a little bit heated. Cesar Montes got sent off because he laid in an ugly challenge on Flo, on Flair and Balogun, who is the next American striker, right? They started him in the 9 spot. They had Reyna and Pulisic behind him, McKinney working in the middle. And Montez put a gnarly sliding challenge down on Flo. Well, Weston McKinney did not take too kindly to that.
All right,
nor did the rest of the
I have to
Americans.
interrupt here because there are people who don't know soccer
Sure.
who have no idea what you just said
Okay.
because you described that a little bit more.
Sure. Be happy to. We are here to make your lives better. So Flo has the ball. He's bringing the ball into the Mexican third. And Cesar Montez, who is a midfielder from Mexico, went for a slide tackle. When he went for the tackle, he basically, how do I layman's terms this, kicked the crap out of the back of Flo's leg and was nowhere near the ball, right? If you go for a tackle and you miss ball and hit leg, there's 3 ways it can work. Well, there's 4 ways it can work out. One is the referee doesn't call anything. If you miss the ball and kick leg, you're going to get something. If it is close and not egregious, you'll be awarded a free kick. There's no penalty on the play, but where the spot happened and the referee calls a foul, there will be a free kick there, right? And so the ball gets put there. The team that drew the penalty gets to do whatever they want with the ball. They can kick it on goal. They can send in a cross. They can send an attack. They can just pass it to somebody else to reorganize their offense, whatever they want to do. If you go miss the ball and hit a leg and it is egregious, you'll receive a yellow card. The way the card system works is this. If you get a yellow card, the referee puts you in the book. You've been booked. You've been warned. Basically, they've said, you have to calm down now. If you receive a second yellow card, you get the second yellow turns into a red. If you see a red card in a soccer match, you are sent off. And your team cannot replace you. Which means that if you get a red card, your team now plays with 10 men against the other team's full 11. Effectively, you create a power play for the other team that does not get rectified. You finish the match, regardless of where the red card happens, with 10 men on the field versus their 11. There are no limits to the number of red cards that can be handed to a team. I have seen a game finish, I think 9v11. Makes it tough to finish up, right? Because you've either got to sacrifice offensive attack or defensive integrity, depending on what you're trying to do. So, because this was a challenge made with extreme aggression and was very egregious, he drew a straight red. There is no warning. That's bad enough. You know what you did. Red card, you're sent off. So the Mexicans at that point would have had to finish the game down a man, 11 for the Americans, 10 for the Mexicans. Except for the Americans had a real problem with that. And they were letting the Mexican players know about it. And I got no problem with that, right? It's a rivalry game. There's some emotion on the field.
So punches or
So Weston McKinney is letting Montez know about this, and 2 other Mexican players effectively grab McKinney. All of this was happening relatively close to the Mexican bench. Weston McKinney was letting these fellas know about this, and 2 of the players effectively pushed him to the Mexican bench. And when he got pushed towards the Mexican bench, right there in front of the Mexican coach and reserves, the bench started to swarm Weston McKinney. Weston McKinney was effectively by himself, surrounded by about 12 Mexican reserve starters and their manager. And McKinney started trying to get the hell out of there because, while he was trying to get out of there, because they were surrounding him and pushing on him, McKinney was trying to shove his way out of the scrum. Somebody on the Mexican sideline grabbed Weston McKinney's shirt and ended up ripping it off of him, right? It was ripped from the collar, like all the way down to the navel. McKinney finally was able to shove his way out of the scrum. And when he came out of the scrum, he looked towards the Mexican fans. And I'm not going to lie, I need the Americans to stop playing games in the Southwest, because this was in Las Vegas and it was about 65% Mexican fans. All right. These games need to be held in Charlotte, Nashville, Boston, Tampa, Jacksonville, Portland, Seattle, Kansas City.
I know how this is going to sound, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Are they playing it there to make sure that it's a full crowd?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They played it in Allegiant, where the Raiders play, right? It's a multi-billion-dollar facility. It's one of the nicest stadiums in America. But yes, I suspect this is why the USSF charges like $55 seats, even if the stadium's only 30% filled, right? They would rather I don't know why. This is one of the biggest gripes in soccer. They would rather sell $55, $65 basic tickets and have 35% audience than drop the ticket prices down to $20 and fill that bad boy up. Let's have some home field advantage here, right? For whatever reason, I don't know. I don't know if it's because they'd have to hire more workers, hire more security, and they feel like it would kind of cut into the profit. I don't know. It's dumb and I hate it. But they did it in Vegas. It was about 65% Mexican fans, and Mexican fans are, let's just say, rowdy, and not in a good way. Not in like the fun way like it is at Clemson or LSU. In a bad way. So McKinney finally shoves his way out of the scrum of Mexican players and coaches around him, gets his shirt ripped off as his reward. And as he comes out of the scrum and walks back towards the American bench to get his backup shirt, he starts looking into the stands at the biggest contingent of Mexican fans. He grabs the U.S. crest on his jersey, starts looking him in the face and kissing the U.S. badge on his shirt. Loved it. Loved it. And then he is given a red card. Now, CONCACAF has not explained to me why Weston McKennie, who was shoved into the Mexican bench, who was assaulted by the entire reserve roster of Mexican players and a couple of starters, who had to fight his way out of being scrummed around, and whose biggest transgression was kissing the U.S. soccer logo on his shirt while staring down fans who, by the way, were launching glasses of beer at him, enough that they had to send on a crew to clear the field of the trash that the trash were throwing at him. Explain to me why he got a red card. Can't do it. Doesn't make sense.
Inciting.
Dude.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
That's the best guess, right? Because if you labeled it physical contact, I go, wait a minute. He got pushed into a scrum of about 9 Mexican reserves and starters who were circled around him. Guys like Yunus Musa were trying to get to him and could not get through the crowd. He had to shove his way out of it, and then he got a red card for egregious conduct. Get out of here. CONCACAF is the worst. Remains the worst.
Is there another reason possibly doing that to try to counter other things, trying to calm the crowd down?
That's not yes, that is a possibility, but that's not the way to do it. That sending guys off, and you had to send off. Montez for the challenge.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, if the crowd is as rowdy as it looks like it was, and you can calm them down by sending one of the Americans back too, then I think you have to do it, because at least around the world, soccer crowds are known to get violent.
Some can. It's still not the way to handle that, because here's the other part that I didn't throw in there. The other part is, if you catch a red card, you cannot play in the next game, which means that Weston McKennie, who is frequently described as the heart and soul of this team, the emotional leader of this team, cannot play in this tournament's finals now.
I know it doesn't matter, but it does kind of. Can he be on the sidelines? Because I don't know how that works in soccer.
No, I don't believe you can be.
So you can't even. Yeah. Okay, all right.
I don't believe you can be there. I mean, you can be in the locker room, but I don't believe you can be on the pitch after grabbing a red card. So Weston McKennie, the emotional leader of this team, after being assaulted by the Mexican team and fighting his way out of it, gets a red card, which means he could not finish last night's game. A game that, by the way, at that point was 2-0, and the Mexicans nearly scored twice, right? That game could have been 2-2 going into the dying minutes. They lost that guy. And he now has to sit out for the Gold Cup finals against Canada, a good Canadian side. Then it ended up going 9-9 because Gerardo Arteaga for Mexico and Serginho Dest, a backline player for the Americans, and again, a guy who has been phenomenal for the USMNT over the last year and a half or so, got into it on the sideline as well. Arteaga and Dest both got red cards and both got sent off, which means that Serginho Dest is now unavailable for the Gold Cup final as well. That was a massive part. Canada's big on getting you out of position in the back line and taking advantage of those mistakes. Serginho Dest is the quarterback of the back line. Now he can't play in that game. Now, Serginho Dest red card was more warranted. I don't love it, but it was more warranted. And I will say, if there is one takeaway from this game that I have to put a lot of positives from this game. A lot of positive. I love the aggression. I love the attack. I love the organization. I love the intensity. But there is one problem. When you're up a pair late, and you've already lost Weston McKennie to a red, I need you to keep your heads. You're in theirs, right? We talked about this with the Vegas Golden Knights. We talked about this with the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers play hockey like the Mexican or like the Americans play soccer. They want to get in your head. Pulisic, Reyna, McKinney, Dest, these guys want to get in your head. They want to bug you. They want to aggravate you, because what happens when you're trying to play aggravated? You make mistakes. What happens when you make mistakes? The other team capitalizes on those mistakes. Now, if you've got a team on the ropes, like the U.S. did with the Mexicans, if you've got a team on the ropes and they are making mistakes like the Mexicans, you can't do the same thing. You can't panic. You can't freak out. You can't start letting them get into yours. And the Mexicans got into the Americans' head late, and it drew the second red. Then, of course, the ref had to stop the game not once but twice, because not only were the Mexican fans littering the field with thrown beer cups and trash that had to be cleaned up every time, but on top of that,
did someone grab the mic and say, you don't live in Cleveland? I'm just curious.
they had to stop the game because of the trash, because someone in the crowd had a laser pointer, and every time the ball was getting into the Americans' box, somebody was shining a laser pointer into Matt Turner's eyes, the goalkeeper. Can't have that.
So would that kick off a metal detector?
I mean,
I'm guessing I don't know. I guess they could be plastic.
I mean, the little ones are so little, there's probably easy to get through, right? You hide it behind a belt buckle or something. I don't know. But somebody was hitting Matt Turner in the eyes with a laser pointer. And on top of that, the Mexicans have been told time and time again, stop with that chant. And the longer the game went on, the louder they did it, to the point that at the very end, they were chanting it. Ordinarily, they do this chant when the goalkeeper takes a goal kick or punts the ball. They'll go, ah, and then they'll do the chant. Last night, they started doing it, chant, 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 to the point that Matt Turner turned around and was raising his hands like, what? Like, stop doing this. And CONCACAF has put anti-discrimination policies into play where if the fans start doing that, they'll stop the game. They'll stop the game till you stop. It's like treating them like children.
So if you know you're getting your butt kicked and you're probably not coming back, if you chant enough, they'll just call the game.
Well, they kind of did, because between the red cards, the fights, the multiple injuries, and the game stoppage, they added 12 minutes of stoppage time on to the end of the 90. And then at 8 minutes, with this chant echoing throughout the stadium, At 8 minutes, the referee blew the whistle and said, we're done here, and stopped the game. There were 4 more minutes of stoppage time. Now, would that have been enough for the Mexicans to come back from a 3-0 scoreline? Probably not. Would it have been enough time for them to net one and maybe stymie the tide a little bit? Maybe. But ultimately, it ends up not mattering. The ref blows the whistle with 4 minutes of stoppage time still on the clock. It was an embarrassment. An embarrassment. It was trash, man. It was trash. It was bad. I had one complaint about the Americans, and that was you had the Mexicans on the rope. You had El Tree on the ropes. You were just landing body blow after body blow, and then you let them get in your head. You can't lose your head in that spot. I know you're mad McKinney was sent off. I was too. We all were. But you cannot risk drawing another red. And thanks to the texter that pointed out, I keep saying the Gold Cup. It's the Nations League. Thank you very much. I was doing a lot of previewing for that. But good call. It's the CONCACAF Nations League final is on Sunday. So you've already got Weston McKennie sent off and unavailable for the finals. You cannot have another player do the same. Serginho Dest has got to calm down in that situation. But that is my only complaint. The back line was in much better shape. They gave up a few chances late, but that was the point where the game was already mostly out of hand. The celebration was mostly already on. And I think at that point, the back line was looking for ways to get the ball forward on attacks. So they got out of sorts a little bit late, a little bit of lack of discipline late in the game, but the game was almost already away at that point. So problematic, but not the worst thing in the world. I think that the intensity was incredible. I think the shape of the formation was much more solid and consistent than it's been in games past. I think you have really, with Flo up front, have really found good chemistry across the front four. That's been the big problem, right? Finishing. We've been able to play games where we've kept a clean sheet or given up one most, but just not been able to finish goals, not been able to finish scores. And, that's not good. That's not good. Found some finishes last night. That's incredible. You found some finishes last night, and that's incredible. So, anyway, loved it. Big thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. 9 out of 10 on the Rob Brown-o-meter. Loved it. Couple of texts that have come in so far. Fan, tell me not to do something because it hurts someone's feelings. I'm going to do it louder and louder and louder. Okay, don't go to downtown Greenville and yell racial slurs on the corner. No. Definitely don't. No. Go ahead. Go ahead, texter. Go ahead. See, I don't know why you think like this is a spot that's bad. Would you encourage someone to go downtown and yell these things on the street corner? No, you wouldn't, because that is an inappropriate thing to do. Then why is it okay there? Knock it off. You're not the Billy Badass you think you are. You wouldn't do that in public. So why do you think it's okay that when people are gathered in massive numbers, they do it? Stop. Texas said the anti-discrimination rules are dumb as hell. Sorry, CONCACAF. The rest of the world isn't on some liberal BS. I don't know, dude. Is it liberal not to ask people to yell racial and sex slurs on the corner? I don't understand. Would you do this in public? Go ahead and out yourself now. Would you go yell racial and homophobic slurs on the corner of the street?
But you're giving a poor example about a corner.
How?
Would you go to a stadium and do it? Is the question, and a lot of people would, because you're in a bigger crowd. You're not going to be singled out.
I mean,
there are things chanted in wrestling that I think
agree.
are horrible, and at football games and at basketball games and everywhere.
Yeah.
By saying you're going to call the game because of this, you're actually encouraging it. Because the mob mentality is going to take over and they're going to do what they want to do.
Well, the punishments only get worse. Mexico has already been forced to play games without fans, home games without fans because of it. Look, you can not like it if you want. That's fine. They've decided they're going to do it. If that's what puts you off the game, so be it. So be it. Hell yeah, I'm jumping in the chant. It's literally just the word blank. It's not, though. Right? It's not, though. It's not. Like, I get what you're saying, but it's not. I get the concept of it's just a word. Words don't hurt. Like, yeah, I've told Lonzo this all the time, right? We've had this discussion about profanity. I don't care about profanity because I don't allow words to have power over me. But they do societally. Again, how many of you would go downtown and scream
but only
racial words on the
in
sideline?
certain societies. Some things are acceptable in others.
Sure.
That's why Mexico's okay with it.
Sure. It's not here and it's our game. Would you walk into my house and call me a slur? No, because it's my house. Much like I cuss in the real world, in the office,
So-
I keep it to a bare minimum out of respect to Lonzo.
Which I appreciate, and you know the reason why. But the thing is, I mean, you can't compare your house to a stadium.
Sure can.
It's not the same thing.
Sure can. It's the Americans hosting that game. We will play by our rules.
Right. But you're saying those rules are also enforced in Mexico.
Yes.
So
Because CONCACAF has a bunch of
Is-
different teams in it.
okay, is CONCACAF, where's it based? I mean,
I don't know where the HQ is. I believe it's in the States.
okay, so
But it governs central, north, central.
if it was based somewhere else and they were okay with the chants everywhere else, because you know the chants would be happening, would you not go to that stadium to support your team?
No, I don't approve it. First off, I wouldn't go to a game in Mexico. I'd be terrified. I'll go to the beaches in Mexico. As I said last night on Twitter, Mexico is a beautiful country with beautiful people, incredible food, music that will capture your soul, compelling art. It's a wonderful country, and their soccer fans are trash. Let's take a break. When we come back, we round out hour number one. Big news out of the state of North Carolina that I do think will impact South Carolina. I'll tell you what that is when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. You are listening to the Libber Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate.
You take too much pleasure in calling yourself that.
I do. Because
You're such a troll, man.
aren't we all?
I say that out of respect.
The old takes one to know one strategy.
Yes.
All right, guys, give me 45 seconds. I'll be right back.
For QC Kinetics.
Oh, yeah.
So
No, yeah, absolutely.
didn't know you were taking us off right then, and I
That's fine.
said the thing. What are you
No,
doing,
I
man?
got it at like your last word.
Okay.
Steven, we have talked a lot of Batman so far, but Lonzo said it's very good.
It is. For a complete breakdown without spoilers, tune into the Upstate Pulse tomorrow, 7 to 9 p.m. If you are a Batman fan, go see it. There we go. If you are an older Batman fan, go see it, because there's some fan service that you'll really appreciate. CGI could have been better.
come every Thursday all summer long. Follow the PvP Voices of Baseball on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts.
It's Macy's Father's Day sale. Take an extra 25% off great gifts.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? Oh, I screwed up the quote. Dang it.
I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it. She was just asking me if I can hold out till then. But there's no quick fix for this. So, I mean, you know,
My options are limited.
Even if they say yes, which they probably will, because it's a good move for everybody. It's just, I know I'm not going to go in and boom, hey, I'm better. Now, you know, if it works in a week or so, I'd be pretty happy with that. Bought new walking shoes. Like to be able to use them. And sleep would be good. Boot Barn. We just had a Boot Barn commercial. There's a thing online now about the proper way to cut a sandwich. How do you cut a sandwich?
Like a sub?
No.
Like a white bread sandwich?
Or wheat. I mean, whatever you
like
prefer.
A regular bread
Yes,
sandwich, like
yes.
Loaves of bread.
You can be white bread all you want. There's a going debate because it's Twitter. So
the correct way to cut a sandwich.
Twitter's amazing.
Twitter's
With throwing these little arguments up there. The correct way. So you cut it corner to corner, or do you cut it down, right the middle? Yeah.
So first off, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't cut my sandwiches. I just make the sandwich and then I eat the sandwich.
I think it's more of a restaurant thing, but also I have cut. I think a BLT needs to be cut.
See,
there's something about cutting a BLT and be able to see the bacon before you eat it. I think it's more of a visual thing.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I get that. But I just don't. Like, if I make it, once it's made, I'm ready to eat it. I don't need to put more preparation between me and the consumption of said sandwich. Sandwich is done. Now I consume.
But if you had to cut the sandwich, so you're saying you've never cut a sandwich in your entire life?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I can't remember the last time I did.
All right. In your household, when your mom made you sandwiches when you were a kid, did she cut them? And if so,
if I recall correctly, Madre cut them down the middle.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, she cut them down the middle. I'll check in and ask if she knows, because she makes PB&J for the nephew now. So I'll ask her how she cuts up the nephew's PB&J.
I think that's another one. I think if it's a bologna sandwich, I think he can go up the middle. But if it's a BLT or PB&J, has to be corner to corner.
Why?
This is how it's done, man.
That is literally the perfect illustration of a Twitter argument right there. All right. Texter said Liberal was probably a crust-off virgin.
There's a 1%er.
What an incredible insult, Texter. What an incredible insult. Oh, I'm putting that on the Twitter bio, dude. Hour number 2 is around the corner. Big news out of North Carolina could impact those of us in the Palmetto State. I'll tell you what it is next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. And for the record, Madre just texted and said, "You are correct."
Who is correct?
Me.
Okay.
She was a middle cutter.
Okay. I've gotten some Arby's has a turkey sandwich is like something you would make at home. They cut it down the middle, and I always thought it was weird because
So you're a diagonal guy. Primarily.
Never put
Not
any,
exclusively.
never put any thought into it till now.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either.
The whole bacon thing, just thought of that because to me that makes sense to look at the bacon. But
well, like I said, I don't ordinarily I don't.
schools, if you get like a cold sandwich at school, they always cut them corner to corner.
Yeah, diagonal. Yeah. I would agree with that. I think the traditional presentation. I think diagonal gives you a better presentation.
It does. I think it also, from a stability standpoint, I think it's more stable from the corner.
I think diagonal gives you a better presentation. I actually don't know why I would cut a sandwich down the middle, other than it's just it's symmetrical, right? Because a corner to corner is not symmetrical; it's asymmetrical. But I'm not a big. I don't know. I am overthinking this, man.
See, and that's why it works on Twitter.
I am overthinking.
Absolutely. You'll be thinking about it later.
I'm thinking about it now.
Next time you make a sandwich, you'll be thinking, if I were to cut this, how would I cut it? And would you do it with it? I mean, if I went to cut a sandwich right now, I would cut it corner to corner. I just would.
I would right now. Now that I've said this, now that I've said it, like it seems that really the biggest benefit is aesthetics, right? Now, if you're someone who cooks for themselves and then plates the dish to be presentable, then you'll always go corner to corner because that's the aesthetic look. And then you can do the thing where you lay one flat and then you lay the other on top of it, like just a little crossover so it stands up a little.
Food selfies.
So if you're the type of person who thinks that anybody else gives a damn about your lunch and you're putting it on the gram.
Admittedly, I have posted some food pictures, usually to make people mad who don't like people posting food pictures.
Or like if I will post food if I'm eating something extraordinary or exotic, right?
Look, I've finally been able to afford to go here.
Right.
And this is all they gave me.
If I'm eating calamari, I'm not posting that. Everybody's had it. But if I'm eating at a $89 steakhouse and that steak is just perfectly done, I might post that. But that's less about the food and more to brag, right?
That's
more to brag than it is about the food. But if you're a person who takes a picture of every meal that you eat, then corner to corner is probably your go-to. It's the more aesthetically pleasing.
That's too deep, Trey. I mean, that's just that's Google stuff right there. I don't know.
What a conspiracy theory.
Unless it's true, you use everything that you have. I mean,
all conspiracy theories are conspiracy theories until they're proven true.
It just makes sense. That way you're not wasting anything.
That same texter just wrote in and said, all jokes aside, I know a full-grown adult who still won't eat the crust. You know what? I say all the time, I don't judge you for the things you do or the things you like. But yeah, that one's a little over the top.
By the way, the heel is my favorite part of the bread.
That's just psychopath behavior. No, it's not. The favorite part of the bread for you is telling people the heel's your favorite part so that you can watch them react to it.
No, I will tell you the toasted heel is there's something about the
sandwiches out of the butt ends of the bread.
I don't really eat a lot of sandwiches, but I don't go, well, I got to skip over that. I mean,
the dog.
It's still part of the
I give it to the dog.
Come on. It's still part of the bread.
The dog gets the
entire outside is just I don't understand. I don't. So you're saying the heel tastes worse?
No, I'm saying the texture is not bready. The texture is crusty. The crust on
I guess it
bread is
depends
fine.
on the cut of the bread. Some cuts of the bread, the heel is not thin. It's as thick as the rest of the slices. It's like Texas toast. Sort of. I don't think I've ever had Uncrustables before. Now I kind of want them too, just to see. Now I get to put on my chapters sliced bread. Check another one off the list.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show starts now. This is the Fan Upstate. If you're not watching along with the show on the stream, you're missing out. The entire break on the stream was about slicing sandwiches. Lonzo said his favorite part of the loaf of bread is the butt.
No, I said the heel.
The butt.
The heel.
It's the
Rob.
butt.
It's the heel.
Texter said all sandwiches should be cut corner to corner unless they are pimento cheese, egg or chicken salad, or the like. Right, but like, why? What? Like, you understand what I'm saying? The reason this is a great argument is because all of us picked a side and none of us have a good reason for it. We all have the only justification I have for going diagonal instead of down the middle is that it's more aesthetically pleasing. That's it. But we're done here. All right.
Although, do you look at other people and go, "Yeah, I know how they cut their bread." Yeah, I mean, Diesel, is he a corner guy or Mark Ryan down the middle?
Mark Ryan's down the middle.
Diesel is a corner guy.
See, I view the down the middle cut as more like just cut the damn sandwich and let's it, right? Like, I don't cut sandwiches. I just eat the sandwich. Down the middle feels like you're just trying to get it done and get it done quick, right? Because if you're going to go corner to corner, you got to get the angle right. You got to make sure that you lined up from this corner to that corner. Your diagonal cut is right there. That's just, you got to line that up. There's an approach. There's geometry. There's trigonometry to cutting corner to corner. You got to get it right, or else one half is bigger than the other half, and now you got a whole new set of problems. Do I eat the big half first or second? Do I eat the little half and get it out of the way? But that makes me rush to get to the big half. Do I eat the big half first? But then I'm just left with less than half a sandwich. Like, there's a whole new set of things to think about here. Down the middle, you can't really screw that up. I don't know, man.
As a geometry guy, I got to go with corner because I still think stability of the sandwich with the corner cut.
But is there more stability there? Because
I think so.
I feel like if I go half and it's symmetrical and effectively a rectangle, I've got equal bracing on both sides with room for both fingers to squeeze.
No, it's a triangle, dude.
No, if I go diagonal, it's a
triangle.
Right?
Yes,
Which means that I can only hold the corners. And or I hold the right angle and then a corner, but then I lose the bread integrity at the corner that's not being held together. Where if I go down the middle, I can go two fingers on both sides of the rectangle and get in there, and I'm not worried about the integrity of the sandwich.
I just got to say, as a man of science, you would think that Rob Brown would understand the integrity of the corner cut.
I just gave you the perfect breakdown of the integrity of a sandwich.
Once again, my friend from across the aisle is wrong. You need to cut it from the corners.
Let me get Chris in here real quick. I want to talk about that news out of North Carolina that impacts all of us, really me more than you, but we'll get to it. Chris is up next on the show. Welcome in, big dog. Good to have you.
Gentlemen, pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me on the show once again.
Always.
Obviously, last night, to call it a debacle would be an understatement with what occurred there on the pitch between the players. But between the lines is one thing. What happens outside the lines is something completely different. And what I just have a very difficult time wrapping my mind around is anybody thinking that, hey, I'm doing this chant and you calling it out or punishing us for it is only going to make us chant harder. Think about the logic behind that. Hey, what you're doing is terrible and offensive to people. It only makes us do it more and give us an even worse reputation around the globe. Sound like a winner? Hey, let's do that. And I want to go back to something a texter said earlier with ascribing a political term to this. And I promise I'm not getting political with this, but I'm merely tying it into the topic at hand, if you'll indulge me for just a second.
Yep.
What has occurred in our society in both sports and politics, to an aggressive degree with politics, but so is sports as well, is that what isn't as important is our team winning as it is the other team losing. If you were to inject truth serum into the college football fans in the state of South Carolina doesn't matter what side they're on, and you offered them this deal, which one is going to make you feel better? Which one would you pick? Your team winning by 1 point over Furman, or your rival losing by 49 to the Citadel? Guess which one is going to get picked overwhelmingly? The rival losing by 49 to Citadel. It's the schadenfreude that we have in our nation, that joy derived from the misery of others, but especially the misery of people that we've decided are on, quote, the other side, somebody that we don't like. It's why we start ascribing political terms to sports arguments and whether behavior should act a certain way in society. And I'll end with this, Rob. If I ever find myself in a place where I'm having to defend the chant that has been deemed homophobic, that would cause me to have some introspection in my life personally. Thank you guys for the time. I appreciate it and look forward to hearing your thoughts.
Chris, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you checking in. 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. You can text us 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. Or send your thoughts on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word.
All right. I just have to say, he threw in Schadenfreude.
It's a good one.
Yeah, because I had no idea what that word was, and I started to dump it, and it's like, okay, let me look this up.
Yeah.
Because obviously not part of my vocabulary.
Schadenfreude, pleasure derived from the pain of others.
You just looked it up. There's no
I
way
didn't. I
that's
knew that
used
word. I know that word. I
Okay.
use that word frequently.
I've never heard you use
Yeah.
that word.
In fact, I used that word last night.
Okay, so you probably don't use that word around me because I'm simple, but that's fine.
I mean, it's not one that I use daily, but
But I looked it up. Pleasure derived by someone from another person's misfortune.
Yeah.
So you feel better about yourself when you see
not even
other
better
people.
about myself. I just enjoy it. Like last night when the Americans, when Pepe scored and went up 3-0 and the cameras turned to the crowd and there was just a flood of green jerseys making their way to the exits in sadness with heads held low. I was not in that just in that little bit of moment, I was not celebrating the Americans winning. I was very much celebrating the Mexicans losing.
I also hope
That's
that
schadenfreude.
Chris doesn't think that I'm defending the chant. I'm not. I'm looking at this.
No, I think he was talking about a texter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because what's acceptable somewhere else is not acceptable here. And if it's on your soil, you should enforce it without a doubt. I will never use Schadenfreude ever in a sentence. Although
You will now.
no. When Chris gets back, I got to try it. He'll know what it is, but
100%.
I got to give it a shot because that's a Chris Evans word.
100%.
And I am not shocked that you knew what that word was. I think that's another word. Chris, the caller, used it really well, but I think that's another word that to me would be more literary than it would be spoken.
Oh, I use it all the time.
I think there are some words that are just more literary.
Let me get to this story real quick before we call this first segment a break. North Carolina. Starting towards the beginning of next year, sports wagering will now be legal in the state of North Carolina. A bill to allow sports gambling both digitally and in person has been signed by Governor Ray Cooper. He signed it at the Spectrum Center on Wednesday.
It's Roy Cooper.
Sorry, Roy, what did I say?
You said Ray.
Oh,
Ray
yeah.
Ray has found his way into
Yeah,
every
Ray's
conversation.
taking over. Ray's taking over. Governor Roy Cooper at Charlotte Spectrum Center on Wednesday signed the bill. The bill is now state law, sets things in motion to get state systems up to regulate wagering in the state of North Carolina, which is pretty par for the course. That's pretty much what's happened everywhere that it has been put into play. Now, there is going to be some time between now and the time that you can drive up to Asheville and place your bets. There are some things that have to go. The system to regulate sports wagering in the state has been set up underneath the wing of the Lottery Commission of North Carolina. Cooper said during the signing ceremony, quote, "We have to make sure the licenses are issued properly and that safeguards are set up and that the regulations are put in place. But I think everyone wants to see it by the end of the year." The law allows for up to 12 licenses for sports venues across the state. So there will be 12 places that will get a license for in-person gambling. I suspect that number will grow, but they kind of want to keep it kind of capsulated right now so that they can make sure that it's going to run smoothly before they start opening it up statewide. Places like the Spectrum Center, Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte Motor Speedway have all been talked about as locations. Representatives for the Spectrum Center, according to My Fox 8 out of Charlotte, said that they could not and would not comment on the specifics of any plans, what it would look like, etc. Hornets president Fred Whitfield said, quote, fans can bet online, they can bet in sports bars that have been created, and it's exciting to think about the possibilities of what this can do. This legislation, according to Fox 8 Charlotte, has been passed with bipartisan support. Cooper supported it early. It has been something North Carolinians have been polled on and repeatedly said that they were in favor of. An Elon University poll showed that while many people do believe that the money from sports wagering would generate useful tax revenues, residents did not think it would stop the illegal betting already happening. Of course it would. If people are going to bet, they're going to bet. Right? You're not going to stop them from betting. All you're doing now is you're opening up to where North Carolina can profit a little bit off of it as well by selling if there's only 12 establishments across the entire state that Rob can pop in the car, drive up to the NC and go spend a day gambling, how much do you think those licenses are going to go for? $1 billion damn dollars? I mean, that's going to be a lot of money. And then of course, you can tax per bet, right? A penny a bet goes back to the state. If I could go somewhere and sit for a day at a sports bar and just wager on gambling or wager on baseball, I'm putting 50 bets down in a day. And again, they're all going to be $4, $5, $10, $20 at a time. But I'm putting a few dollars down here and there. But if I'm going a penny a bet every time I place one, right? Every $7 bet is $7.01. And then you get 60 Rob Browns at a bar and you do that statewide. How many tens of thousands of dollars a day in free revenue is that? So my question here is this, is somebody who is still very much learning the intricacies of all of this. My question mark is, though, how much do decisions in one Carolina impact those in the other? Could it be possible that the legislature of South Carolina has turned its eyes northward to see what the ramifications and impact over the next, say, year, 2 years are in North Carolina, and eventually go, you know what? North Carolina's profiting. It's not like they're driving up organized crime. Yeah, we're going to do that next. Is there a possibility South Carolina follows suit and sports wagering becomes legal in South Carolina as well?
Obviously, I'm not an expert on this, but from following trends, I don't think anytime soon that will happen.
Okay. Is that we've had enough politics.
It's a political thing.
That was going to be my question.
It
without
is.
That being my question.
Yeah, it is.
See, I mean, obviously, you know what side of the fence I'm on, right? Obviously, you know where I'm coming. Oh, I was set up.
Seemed like a good time to hit that, so we can get away from the politics. All right. According to Woj, Michael Jordan is finalizing the sale of the Charlotte Hornets to a group led by Gabe Plotkin and Rick Schnall, ending his 13-year run as majority owner. That's what league sources are saying.
Good.
So I mean, it's not a done deal, but finalizing means it probably is.
Good. Get out. You don't want to be there. You bought it to put your face on it. If you're not going to obviously he's invested.
If you're a Charlotte fan, are you happy about this happening before the draft?
Yes. So
if it's finalized before the draft, whoever these new owners can come in and maybe make the right choice.
Yes. Get out. In fact,
what if the new owners come in and trade that pick for Zion?
They're not going to. And I'll tell you what, in fact, you know what? I'm glad you said that. Let's talk about this in the next segment. First off, if you're listening in Columbia, legalize sports gambling. All right. The people want it. North Carolina have spoken. I do hope that leadership in the Palmetto State follows suit. Legalized game. I don't understand why in an area that is all about individual freedoms, you have decided what I am not allowed to do with my money. But that's another discussion. Not really. It actually is that discussion. That's exactly the discussion. All right. So Mike is out, or at least trying to get out from Charlotte. That's a good thing. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, Zion's not coming to Charlotte, and it has nothing to do with the buzz. I'll tell you why when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Boy, I'm just dancing around grenades today. We having a good time, y'all.
I'm not giving Rob a hug right now, Joe. Not doing it.
Yeah.
That's not what the people want.
That's what the people want.
No, the people want a hug.
I very much want Hug Life Bailey to come back so I can get a shirt.
She's never coming back. She's Karen forever.
No, she's not. Damage control breakup turns her face, right? Question is, do we get a heel Io Sky or do we get a face Io? And she's got to have a face run for her.
I don't think it matters. I don't think you can really tell with her.
She's a tweener.
Yeah.
You might not be wrong. Grab a water. All right, wrestling fans, what do we think about this alleged CM Punk interview?
Are they going to put it out before the show?
Artie, what?
Is the interview going to come out before the actual show? Because it's a work, Rob.
Well, first off,
It's a work.
I'm not convinced it's not. I'm not convinced it is, but I'm not convinced it's not. I would say this. ESPN's in bed with WWE. If they can blow this up, they're gonna. right? Like they're gonna. On the flip side,
And Disney's looking to possibly
yeah,
get the TV right.
which makes it even more because the more you damage AEW, the better WWE looks in the eyes of stockholders. So my thought here becomes, you create a situation where not only do you damage AEW from the outside, you damage it from the inside too, because either the talent's got to get over it. We've all had coworkers that we've had conflict with.
Not me.
Not Lonzo. Everybody loves Zoe.
Now, CBS Sports Radio.
I have it recording, and we'll see how much of it I actually watch. But I probably will on Sunday. Not to overly scrutinize, but to overly scrutinize. Probably won't watch that last match, though. Not like anybody in that match.
It's actually said, I'll never understand why out-of-towners move here and want to change everything. If you wanted to bet, you degenerate, you should have moved to Vegas. Well, it turns out they didn't offer me a job in Vegas. They offered me a job here, A. And B, again, what is it of your business? How does it impact you?
Degenerate.
If I want to pop on my phone, the degenerate that I am, and throw $100 at the Panthers to cover the spread, how does it impact you in a way that you think I should be legislatively prevented from doing so?
Well, the way
I don't understand it.
The way to fix that, Rob, is for you to run for office and change things. You know, start from a grassroots level, work your way up.
I don't want to be involved in my HOA. All right. I don't want to be involved in my homeowners association, but you think I'm going to run for state? No, I'm not. Instead, I'm going to get on this mic and I'm going to complain endlessly and never do anything about it. That's what I'm going to do.
The same thing you could do if you were in politics. So why not?
Keegan said, if betting is why they think you're a degenerate, they don't know you at all. Well, okay. All right. Dude, I get it if people are moving in and like fundamentally trying to change aspects of your city. But why?
Daggum Yankee, go home.
I get that. I don't agree with it, but I get it. I do not understand why me tossing a hundo at the buzz to pick Scoot is somehow impacting your life. It's not.
By the way, keep in mind,
like
if you want Rob to go home, you're the northerner to him.
Yeah. Okay. Breaking news. Well, broken news. Michael Jordan is working on a deal to sell the majority stakes of the Charlotte Hornets after 13 years and exactly 0 accomplishments as his majority owner, according to the Woj bomb that he dropped just a few minutes ago.
Did he get the Hornets name back? Was that him?
Yeah, okay. Is that his accomplishment?
I'm asking because that's kind of an accomplishment.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean,
You got
the colors in the Hornets is still I like that.
Look, I like the colors. The Hornets name is just whatever for me. Like bland.
I know this is gonna hurt, but it's better than Pelicans. I mean, Pelicans, man, come on.
Right. If you are not from Louisiana, it's better than Pelicans. If you're from Louisiana, Pelicans is a great name. Is what I'm still trying to.
I would like
myself.
to pull some. I like to pull some other Louisianans.
Yeah, you can ask Keegan. He's in the stream.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like one of those things that, it's definitely great. And I believe myself when okay. Michael Jordan is selling. And my response to that, good. Bye. Listen, I don't mean to besmirch the good name of his airness.
Maybe I pushed it
Yeah, no, that you're good.
It kind of did a pop-in
It's
sound.
Friday.
That was weird. Maybe he's selling his shares so he can make a comeback.
No, I think
so he can come back and make sure that LeBron doesn't pass him up anymore.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why he's selling his shares. He's selling his shares because he's going to get more involved directly with the association itself, which is more valuable to him than the Hornets, right? If he's a face of the Hornets, he's a face in Charlotte and some surrounding areas. If he's a face of the NBA is going to trot him out everywhere. Think about some of the legends, Kareem, that are more involved with the league. Every time the Lakers are on national TV, there's Kareem.
Well, Mike might want to stay off the vodka or whatever because his eyes are awful red during that whole docu-series.
He was emotional, Lonzo.
Was that what it was? Okay.
Good. Get out. Because here's the thing. Michael Jordan bought the buzz to park his money and get some ROI out of it. That's it. That's it. If anybody can cite to me any bit of evidence that showed that Michael Jordan ever cared about this basketball team, I'll be shocked. Michael did not care about the basketball team. Michael cared about the brand. And don't get me wrong, I get it. The brand is what is going to keep Mike in the Hall of Billionaires, a very exclusive club. Mike did not care about the Hornets. Mike did not care about Charlotte. Mike might have cared a little bit about basketball in the Carolinas, but I'm not convinced in any way, shape, or form that he ever gave a damn about the Charlotte Hornets. Mike was concerned with the only thing Mike has ever been concerned about. Mike was concerned about the brand, the Jordan brand, the Nike brand, and that's it. That's the list, right? Mike's concerned about Mike and what Mike can sell. I'm going to go ahead and call the shot now. Michael Jordan is about to get an advertising blitz from the NBA. They are about to start propping Mike up everywhere. And why would Mike want that to be the case instead of becoming a successful owner? Because Mike is going to get his face on more TVs. He's going to get the Jumpman logo on TVs, and he's going to sell more merch out of it. That is it, only and entirely, right? So I'm glad he's leaving. When Mike bought the team, turns out I wasn't here. But when Mike bought the team as a radio guy, very new to the game, by the way, I was like 2 years into my career at that point. I was like, oh, that's bad for the rest of the league and real good for Charlotte. Bad for the rest of the league, very good for the Hornets. Because Mike, with Mike's brand and Mike's recognition, Mike will be a power owner in the NBA. A power owner in the NBA. And then he just never was. It felt like it was a spot to park $1 billion, let it sit, skim the income off the top, and then sell it once the value skyrocketed. And it has, because every franchise has gone up in price. Mike has done nothing to invest in this team. Steve Smith, listen, now I'm not saying that Mike's never gone to practice, right? I'm not saying Mike's never showed up at the gym and worked with some of the guys. Sure. But every team can bring in former players. Not every team can bring in Mike, but every team can bring in former greats and help them. Hell, San Antonio had Tim Duncan sitting on the bench during games, handing out wisdom. Never saw that out of Mike, right? Michael Jordan getting the hell out of Charlotte is good for the Hornets because you're bringing in two owners. But let me put it this way. You're bringing in two owners that if they come in and do absolutely nothing, nothing's going to change. What's it matter, right? If they come in and do absolutely nothing, if this is nothing more than an investment for them, a place to sit a few bill and then sit back and watch the money roll in, then nothing changes because that's what you already had in Michael Jordan, Hornets majority owner. But if they give even 10% of a good gosh darn, sky's the limit. This team can get better. If they give even a little bit of a care about the success of this basketball team, the Hornets are going to be better off for it. I said on this show like 2.5 weeks ago, when the rumors of Michael wanting to sell started to float around, I said on the show, good get out. And now I can say it's good that he got out. Schnall is a minority owner with the Atlanta Hawks. That gives me a lot of optimism. Why? Look at what the Hawks have done over the past couple of years. They bring in Trae Young. They label him a superstar. I think he's still working towards that upper echelon of superstardom, but they built a good team around him. Schnall's a part of that. If nothing else, he has got some level of involvement with the betterment of the Atlanta Hawks. If he brings that to Charlotte, that's good. Plotkin is currently a minority owner with the Hornets, and that's good news. Why? He's got familiarity with the program. He, better than anybody else, is going to know what has worked, what has not worked, what to do, and maybe more importantly, what not to do. I thought Michael Jordan was going to be a coup de grace for the Charlotte Hornets when he bought. Why wouldn't it be? You bring the Jordan brand, which should bring eyes. Michael Jordan should be to owners what LeBron James is to players. Love him or hate him, you're going to watch him. Mike needed to be that for owners. Mike should have been hands-on. He should have been grooming players. He should have been directly involved with the team. He should have been at practices, should have been at games, should have been involved in everything. And I got none of that from Mike. I got an owner who wanted to profit off the top of the team and nothing else. Could have used his power for good, and instead he didn't. With great power comes great responsibility. I've heard that line before. Mike had a responsibility. I think all owners have a responsibility to do the best they can to field the most competitive team that they can. That is what we expect as fans. That is why we continue to watch, to pay, to invest ourselves in the team, right? I've said this for many years. As fans, you are an investor in the team. The only difference is that instead of getting money back for our investment, we're supposed to get what? Entertainment and happiness. I want to watch my team and be entertained, to enjoy it, and to occasionally friggin' win something, right? Are there any Hornets fans right now that can say they have been anywhere close to consistently entertained by this team for the past 13 years? Nope. Are there any Hornets fans that can say, outside of occasionally going to a game, that they have gotten any consistent enjoyment out of this team? Nope. Which means you have, as a fake shareholder in the team, have been let down by its ownership. And in this case, the ownership is Michael Jordan. Now, according to Woj, Jordan is expected to keep a minority stake and a presence with the franchise. Okay, fine, right? But hand the reins over to somebody who cares, somebody who actually wants to make this team, what's the word I'm looking for here? Good? Competitive? Hell, forget good. Let's go for competitive. Let's take step one from bad to mediocre, and now let's go from mediocre to competitive. Once we get a competitive, we can work on the next couple levels. Now, to segue that to the talking point Lonzo brought up in the last segment. Could this be Mike getting out of the way to hand the reins over to somebody that has some drive to make a move and potentially bring on Zion? And the answer is no. Not because of any other reason than I don't believe the Pelicans are going to move on from Zion. Okay? So why is there all of this discussion about Zion being traded going on? Two reasons. The first reason is one that I have complained about on this show many times, because it's a fun talking point for the national, primarily New York media. I pointed out to Zoe when we came back from break. I walked in here and I spun the TV around. What were they talking about on ESPN, Alonzo?
Zion to the Knicks.
Yeah, it's always Zion to the Knicks. Should the Knicks be making moves for Zion? What the hell are they going to offer? What are you going to offer? Nothing, right? It's just a talking point for New York media to kill a segment. That's number one. Number two, this is a game. In order to motivate, the different people are motivated different ways, right? Some of us are motivated by paychecks. Some people are motivated by praise. Some people are only motivated by discipline. Some people are motivated by the threat of discipline, and some people are motivated by consequences or the threat of consequences, right?
I would throw in another one. Some people are motivated by being told they can't do something.
Sure. We all have our source of motivation. You want to see Lonzo get something done? Tell Lonzo we can't do it. You want to motivate Rob Brown? Pay me. Or Ric Flair, baby. Woo. These Rolexes ain't free. Pay me. Right? I'm easily motivated by money. I'm a sucker for the dollar. Some people are motivated by consequences, some by the fear of consequences. Some guys are never going to get it until their name shows up on a disciplinary report. And then you're going to get 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years of great work out of them. Some guys can be motivated by the fear of consequence. Hey, look, dude, if you don't do this thing, I am going to have to let you go. Well, now I know the consequences. I'm going to do that thing, right? I think the Pelicans have exhausted everything with Zion. Everything with Zion. They tried to motivate him with money. They gave him an extension. It didn't work. They tried to motivate him by letting him be part of a successful team. Hell, Zion, an hour before he sat out playoff games last year, was on the court throwing down 360 windmill dunks and then going, my leg's not back. My leg's not back. I'm not great. They have now reached the stage where the only motivation they have left is consequences and or the threat of them. That's it. That's all they've got left. So what do you do now? You motivate Z. Hey, dude, we are trying to make you the bona fide star. And the good news for them is that there's a few teams right now that you can now point to and go, look, 1 star, great team, supplemental built around them. Giannis with the Bucks. We can make you Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is selling some shoes, y'all. Giannis is moving some merch. People will buy your merch if you're a star, even if you're on a small team. So the NBA might want Z in New York or LA or wherever. But Z doesn't have to go there to make money. We now know that. Look at Denver. Nikola Jokic is the most boring, great player of all time. Look at Nikola Jokic. My dude's on TV as much as LeBron right now. Why? Because he's compelling in a weird way, but he's compelling. You can do that. Look at playoff Jimmy. Miami is actually hilariously considered a small market. Jimmy Butler has owned television throughout this entire postseason, right? You understand what Z would have been on TV had Zion played in the play-in tournament and elevated the Pelicans into the playoffs. He'd have got Jimmy Butler time, right? Look at what this guy did. The Pelicans have tried everything to motivate Zion. They are down to the last thing. What's the last thing? Consequences. Here's the deal, bud. You're either going to figure it out or we're going to send you to a crappy team, right? We will trade you to a team that's worse than us. Because here's the thing. The Pelicans made the play-in tournament without Zion. We're going to send you to a crap team. The reason this has been put out there is solely to tell Z, you are on the cusp of consequences. You are on the cusp of being made to look like a failure. So you got 2 options. You can get it together. You can quit with the baby mama drama. You can leave the porn stars at home and you can start getting your body right and playing basketball consistently, or you're going to be made to look like a failure. Choice is yours, my guy. Are the Hornets interested in Zion? Sure, maybe, right? I am ashamed now to say that I have dated broken women in the past with the mindset of, I can fix her, right? I'll be the Prince Charming. I'll be the knight in shining armor that gets her head right and makes her into the woman I see her being. And guess how those relationships went? I have also had women date me. I can fix him. I can take the things wrong with him and make him right. Guess how those relationships went? Also, you can't fix somebody that's broken. They have to fix themselves. So the Pelicans are the only team that can create something where Zion realizes, I got to fix myself. I got to get myself right. Now, as I've mentioned many times, Zion's young. He's immature. And a lot of these athletes that are elevated to pedestals of greatness when they're very young, it does not shock me when they turn out to be idiots. Why? Because they've never been told no. You think Zion Williamson's been told no since middle school? No. He's never been told no. So when he gets to the league, he believes there are no consequences. Do you understand part of the reason I love LeBron is that whether or not you love his political stances, you ever heard about LeBron James getting arrested? Nope.
Not yet.
Getting a DUI?
Nope.
Nope. Cheating on his wife? Cheating on his baby mama?
Not as far as we know. Yeah.
The only drama in LeBron's entire career is what? His opinion. His opinion. That's it. His only drama has always been having an opinion. Never been arrested, waving guns around in a car, having 19 kids by 19 women, getting arrested. None of it. No DUIs, no drug possession, none of that. He's never had any of that. Probably because, like Mike, he's protecting his brand, but whatever, right? He's never done any of that. That's part of the reason I like LeBron. The only bad thing he's ever done, in most people's eyes, is have an opinion. Oh, the audacity to have an opinion. Now, the consequences for LeBron would be, if any of that happened, his value goes down. His brand takes a hit, right? Zion's brand never got off the ground.
Someone say Space Jam 2 caused a hit too.
I'm not even mad about that.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. All right. It wasn't that bad. It was just held to the standard of Space Jam, which is an all-time great movie. Forget Mike. It's just a great movie, right? So Zion is now staring in the face of consequences. If Zion Williamson was the Z that everybody thought he was going to be coming out of college, Zion's brand could be on a trajectory to be equal to or greater than LeBron James. Now he's starting to see that. And if you get labeled a failure, your brand takes a huge hit. So the Pelicans are, in my opinion, in my estimation, are likely doing this to show Z, your brand is not there. Your valuation's not there. You want to be LeBron? You want to be a star? Get it right. Get it done here. Take the Anthony Davis route. Be the guy, be the stud, be the star. Prove you are worth being picked up by a great team. And then maybe you got a shot. Or be Giannis Antetokounmpo Volume 2.0. Be the guy that dedicates his career to winning in a small market and showing that you're an all-time great. But if you're not going to do that, we'll send you somewhere like Charlotte. Love Mike the player. Glad as hell that he is gone. Texas said, best part about the Hornets is getting cheap tickets when stars come to town. There's nothing else. That's it. Texas said, if Lonzo hasn't fixed you yet, there ain't no fixing you, Rob. That's probably fair. Texas said, you can say the same about Steph. They both just carry themselves differently. Exactly. Texas says, Charlotte needs to continue sucking so I can see Luka for $50. Again, that's a benefit. Let's take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 2 next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right. Shout out To the little brother and Lou who are watching from home back down in the Picola. That's my nephew and my significantly less attractive. What is going on with your neck there, you Davis Mills knockoff? You Dollar General Davis Mills. What is happening there? You half giraffe. What is that?
Sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash.
Yep, that's it. Same. In fact, we drove from Fort Walton Beach to New Orleans multiple times to go see NBA games. In fact, the only time that I saw Kobe play was in New Orleans when he played the Hornets, because they were a little more expensive when like a Kobe Bryant would come to town, but you could still get tickets for like $30 to go to a Pelicans game. But yeah, that's exactly right. Like as a fan, I'm cool with the Hornets being bad because yes, we can drive up to Charlotte and go see a Hornets game for $30 and see great players come through. As an analyst who gets paid more money to cover teams that are good. Bye, Mike.
Why are you so mean to your brother, man?
It's a mutual.
I just heard that on my way out. From all I've seen, he's only, said glowing things about you.
Okay, Rhonda.
That's high praise.
It is.
Look. It's little Nate, man.
Oh, that is Nate. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. Vincent.
I should have got it from the hair.
Vince sent it to me yesterday. He had met him before in the airport. This time they shared a flight.
It's awesome.
I said, is he cool? And he's like, yes, he is awesome. So I guess they talked wrestling the whole way wherever they were flying from. Still my all-time favorite was when Vince sent me a picture of Xavier Woods, and he couldn't remember who it was. And I thought he was messing with me. I'm like, come on. Come to think of it, he hasn't been on TV in a while.
Nate? He really hasn't.
Xavier Woods.
My bet is they're waiting for Kofi to come back because Kofi's coming back in the next couple of weeks, and they'll run them out together.
Yeah, Christian Cage does pull off the turtleneck, and it's immediate heel look.
Really
it's
does.
an immediate heel look. You look and go, yeah, that's a heel.
Yeah. When the first time he wore it out, I was like, no.
Yeah, Chris.
You know what I'm good
he went to Furman. I got to get one of my first wrestling interviews ever was with him, and it was really cool. And I saw him coming out of Circuit City when it went out of business. I maintain that was him and another wrestler coming out with a bunch of action figures and stuff. The one down the road on Woodford Road. He was Consequences Creed then in TNA? He come out with the Apollo Creed shorts.
Apollo!
Yeah, good. He got called back up. You haven't seen him either. A lot of people you haven't seen.
Yeah, that's true.
Seen Cameron Grimes twice. Although the one victory was pretty good over him. And admittedly, when Circuit City went out of business, I was in there buying some stuff. Just like when Toys R Us went out of business. Sad to see him go, but, deals are deals. I don't know about a turtleneck with cutoffs, though. That's disturbing.
That's just commitment to the gimmick, dude.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
That is just commitment to being turtleneck guy.
Your turtleneck's you gotta be rocking some long sleeves with that. Oh, we're cool, Chris. Don't worry about it.
All right, we're going to talk the College World Series in the next hour. We have got a good one lined up because we've got a really good collection of talent. The Florida Gators are very good. LSU is exceptional. Tennessee is a team that just guts out dubs. Wake Forest might be surprisingly the best team in this whole bracket. And that's all well and good. We're gonna give you some breakdowns, some thoughts on the College World Series in the next hour. But it is time to talk about my favorite college baseball challenge, the Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge. There's a bar in Omaha called Rocco's. And every year, when the fans of all these schools descend upon Omaha, Nebraska, they keep track of how many fans of how many schools buy how many shots. And if I recall correctly, they give a portion of it back to charity, right? So a portion of all the Jello shots purchased go back to charity. So it's $5 Jello shots, and they keep track. And these things, usually by the end of the weekend, these things end up in like the thousands of Jello shots sold.
All right, non-drinker question here. What does a Jello shot do for you?
It's drinking, but Jello.
Okay, so
it's just a gimmick. It's just fun.
So you're eating the alcohol.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, I
don't judge.
Are certain flavors worse than others? Or is it just about what you prefer?
Jello, dude.
And Jello.
Unless I loaded the Jello shot with vodka, if I just gave you a regular Jello shot, you just think it was eating Jello. There's not a lot of difference. That's another part of it is it's a good way to consume alcohol if you don't like the taste of alcohol. All right. So they do this every year and they keep track of it. Well, we have hit a very impressive milestone as all 8 teams in the College World Series went over triple digits on the first day, the day before the tournament.
Also known as a sad day in society. But,
Sounds like an awesome party to me. Sounds like a rager, bro. I love it. Here are your numbers.
Tell me you didn't talk that way when you were in college.
Bro.
That's a lot different than what you just did.
Bruh. The only team that on the day before the College World Series did not get to triple figures is those nerds from Virginia who did 85 Jello shots. That's the bottom line. Second to last on the list, Florida with 118. Get it together, Gators. Stanford did 120. TCU 149. Tennessee 177. At 206, Oral Roberts outdrank Florida and Tennessee and Stanford.
That just shouldn't be.
And TCU.
But
oh, no. I'm about to impress you even more.
Like I was impressed by Oral Roberts.
206.
Yeah, come on.
Wake Forest, 328.
Is Oral Roberts still not a Christian university? I just,
Hey, man. Drink on Saturday, church on Sunday. I ain't mad about it. Many a country song written with that exact line in it.
Because it's easy.
Lonzo, your top drinking team, it will come as zero surprise to learn that it is LSU. Go Tigers. However, what might surprise you is that they put away 564. They more than doubled up everybody except Wake Forest.
Did it surprise you?
Not even a
little.
Then
why should it surprise me?
Not even a little. Back after this for the third final best hour of the Rob Brown Show. It's next on the Fan Upstate. Go Tigers.
second of the year tying the Major League lead, and against a potent Rangers lineup, he pitched 6 innings and allowed just 2 runs. CONCACAF Nations League semifinal, the U.S. men's national team 3-0 win over Mexico, but didn't quite make it to the finish line. Game stopped before completion on second half stoppage time. Excessive anti-gay chanting. I'm Emmanuel Clark.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio. CBS Sports Radio. If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can
Where do you see that at, Keegan?
/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.
Yeah, I see it now. Thank you for the heads up.
And I'm always trying to find something that nobody else has. If you're a Clemson or South Carolina fan, let me tell you, Smith & James has the nicest looking team here you've seen. It's fresh and unique, and you don't have to worry about everyone else having your shirt. Better yet, people will be asking you where you got it. How do we know? Because we're wearing Smith & James, and they're asking us. Check out their collection today at smithandjames.com. Stop by their stores in downtown Greer and on Verde Boulevard in Greenville.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. When buying toys for your pet, look for natural materials like cotton, rope, wood, or bamboo. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
It's Macy's Father's Day sale. Take an extra 25% off great gifts for every dad with your coupon or Macy's card. Or shop Father's Day specials like 40 to 50% off.
We have breaking news, by the way.
I saw that.
Yeah, Keegan pointed it out to me, and I just saw it too. And I sent you something on Twitter, a link that might shock you.
The Sting one?
No.
Another one?
Yes. About a wrestler possibly leaving AEW or WWE. It shocked me.
So,
Did you click on it?
yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. Somebody the other day, who was it that tweeted it? Somebody the other day compiled a thread of dirt sheet reports of AEW stars that were considering leaving for WWE. And they put together like 22. And it's like everybody in AEW has had this story written about them. And I'm not saying none of them are true, but none of the ones that have been dirt sheeted as moving to WWE have moved.
Just him, though. That's like the one you think he would stay where his dad is. So
Yeah, exactly.
but maybe not. Gable's in first break.
That's great. You gonna break glass out of the theme? You break glass out of the intro?
Yeah.
Okay. Break the glass. We have breaking news. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, and beat the books with our friends at BetQL. And don't miss Bet for the Cycle, the best baseball show in America, ladies and gentlemen, every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network, hosted by former professional baseball player Cody Decker and some other guy. It airs from noon to 4. It is a phenomenal show. And we have got, what's the next one? Oh, Mario has to get a 3 to 4 week lasting tramp stamp tattoo. Pretty excited about that punishment. Our Parlay v Parlay challenge this week, we're running back the Da Bomb Sauce punishment. If Cody and I lose, we take a shot of it on the air. If Mario loses, he has to do 2 shots of it over the course of a show. It's a ridiculous show. You should all watch it. According to Espen, and how about Woj and Fuego today? Back-to-back Woj bombs getting dropped on us. The NBA has suspended Ja Morant 25 games to start the 2023-24 season based on incident number 2 of waving around a handgun. And I am just going to say, he does also have to meet certain off-the-court conditions before returning to play. We do not know what those conditions are. I expect those will be broken sometime in the next hour or two. We will start to find out what that is. That being said, it feels low to me, doesn't it? Like, it feels low to me. It feels like he kind of got off the hook. Like 25 games.
All right, I was going to put this on Twitter trending topics because it's trending now. Only 25 is trending.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are thinking the same thing that you're thinking. That's kind of low.
Yeah. It feels.
And the way the commissioner sold it is we're going to wait till after the finals, which made it sound like it was going to be, half a season or maybe a full season, and it ends up only 25. It's better than 10, but still probably not enough.
Yeah, like if you were just going to hit it with 25 games, you probably should have done it during the finals to distract everybody that you're only giving a cat 25 games for effectively endangering the life of everybody that was around him, not once but twice, right? Say this, I'm a gun owner. I like guns. I shoot guns. I also got told by my old man from the day he got me my first BB gun, every gun's loaded, every gun is treated as if it is loaded, and every gun hits multiple safety checks, whether or not, but especially if there are people around you. This dude, not once, but twice, did the exact opposite of that. Caught 25 games. 25, not even half the season, right? Now, it kind of unfortunately leads me to this thought, Lonzo. The NBA protecting a star. Let me ask you a question. If this was Dylan Brooks and this was violation number 2 within a 6-month period, is he catching 25?
He's probably full season.
He's catching a season, right? I never expected Ja to catch a season. I expected him to catch half a season. He did not even catch half a season. That's ridiculous, man. There are 82 games he's suspended for 25. This is 100%, in my opinion. This is 100% the league recognizing that if they sit down a bona fide, genuine NBA superstar, and Ja he's one of the most talented players in the league on earth. If they were to sit one of their superstars for 25, the Grizz are irrelevant. It is one less team in the mix. It is a little less drama. You're already taking Ja out of pretty much every hype run that the NBA can go on, right? You can't advertise him for what is effectively, 35% of the season, 40% of the season? I'm bad at math. Get off me. It's, I don't know, man. I don't know. That is really, for my guy to go, for Adam Silver to go with, we're not going to interrupt the NBA Finals with this Ja news because it's going to be a distraction to the players that are playing in these finals and then drop a third. What is that? Let's just call it a third of the season for the sake of easy math. For Ja to catch a third of the season. And again, does Ja have the right to carry a handgun? Absolutely. Absolutely. But just like anybody else, you can't go just waving it around. And then when you already did that once, you've already been smacked down disciplinarily once. You've already been chastised once. You've already had to go to counseling once. The league commission's already gotten on you once. And you said to the public, including the Grizzlies fans, oh, I learned the error of my ways. I made a mistake. I know I made a mistake. I'm going to try to grow and be a better person and get better for it. And then you immediately do the same thing. You know, when I was a Ute and my dad caught me doing something I wasn't supposed to do, and I was mildly disciplined and told, don't do that again. And I would look my old man in the face and go, yes, sir, I understand, sir. It won't happen again, sir. And then I did the thing again. I caught a massive punishment. Alonzo, the punishment wasn't for the thing. That played a factor. I didn't get punished for the thing. What did I get punished for?
For doing it a second time.
For looking the dad in the face
Well,
and
yeah,
saying, I
yeah.
won't do this
Yeah.
thing, and then doing the thing, which is effectively lying to the commish of my household, right?
Well, what they're saying is, what John's saying, he ain't going to do anything to me. Do you know who I am? And he's still maybe thinking the same thing with only 25. How much does that hurt him?
Honestly, not that much.
Or are you giving someone free time for him to do it again?
I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. TBH. Like I would like to think that at this point, Ja is going to look around and go, yeah, I got it. I got it. Right. Like, but again, he already once
Can't the team or the commissioner, and I know it's kind of harsh, go, hey, it's the game of basketball, or it's them. You stop hanging around with those guys, which, I mean, he's not doing it individually. He's doing it when he's hanging with guys. Or you give up basketball, or we're just going to take basketball away from you.
Well, look, here's the reality. We all know how pro sports work, right? Ray Lewis allegedly killed a dude and was welcomed back to the league with open arms. Why? Because he was the most talented linebacker on planet Earth, right? Because he helped them win. This is why all the time in sports, we see a guy do something dumb, do something dangerous, do something illegal, get released by his team, and then what happens? Within days, another team picks him up and goes, well, you know, here at XYZville University of Pro Sports, we believe in second chances. We believe that guy has learned his lesson. We believe that he knows that he made a mistake. We believe that he will grow to be a better person for it, and we believe in second chances. That's the play. That's always been the play. So I think the NBA knows that. I think the Grizz know that. The Grizz weren't going to do anything, right? Because if Ja Morant goes away, guess where the Grizz go? Right back down the crapper. Right back down the turlet. So they weren't going to do it. Now, what they've allowed to do, because this is literally Adam Silver's job, let the league hang down the penalty. Let the league put the discipline on Ja. Then you go, you know, we accept it. And as somebody who worked closely with Ja Morant every day, we believe Ja has learned his lesson. And Ja's going to continue to grow and mature as both a player and a person. So we're going to give Ja the grace of getting his life together, getting his act together. That's all this is. 25 games. It's not enough, man. It's not enough. My dude went from looking the commission dead in the face and going, yeah, I know, Dad. I screwed up. It was a dumb decision. I made a dumb decision. I recognize it's a dumb decision. And Dad, I won't do it again. And then immediately did it again. Immediately did it again. Again, all you're doing at this point, if you were the NBA, is telling players in the league, slap on the wrist. 25 games is going to put the Grizz in a spot where they're likely gunning for a play-in tournament game, right? They're likely going to be trying to get into the play-in tournament. But they can still get into the playoffs, and Ja can still make a run. I think they got some work to do as far as building a team, right? They let Dylan Brooks go, obviously. Who's the guy behind Ja? Jaren Jackson Jr.? Triple J? It's okay. Desmond Bain? Is that the guy? Throw in TD's 933 on the stream says Goodell would have banned him for life. Doubt it. Ja is the equivalent of Justin Herbert as a quarterback, right? A star, yes. Still ascending towards superstardom. Still ascending towards the Tom Brady, you can get away with almost anything level. But still very important. He's one of the hyped stars of the league. He's one of the guys that is on the commercials, is on the posters, is on the marquee, is celebrated. They gotta do something. But giving him a third of the season allows Ja to still stockpile numbers, allows the Grizz to still make the play-in tournament, allows him to still be a factor, but allows Adam Silver to say, oh, we did something. And I think that's what they're going for, man. That's what they're going for, and that's what they went with. 25 games, not enough. That's way too many games considering he did not break the law. This isn't about the law, dude. Right? My job has things I'm not allowed to do that also aren't against the law, right? I can do things that will get me fired from my job that aren't against the law. I can go outside right now and do things that aren't against the law that will get me fired. It's not about the law. It's about consequences within your job. And I think sometimes we forget that at the end of the day, this is these dudes' job, right? Now, if you want to say that the NBA should not have punishments for, again, do you think it is not against the law for Rob Brown to carry a sidearm? It's not. I could be strapped right now. Except I can't because my job says can't do that. Now, if I roll up into this building and the boss finds out and he goes, hey, man, you're suspended 2 weeks without pay. We can't have that here, right? Theoretically speaking. I can't look him in the face and go, it's not against the law. Right, but it's against the workplace. And I will go ahead and tell you, I don't have a problem with any workplace saying, yeah, you can't wave handguns in the air like you just don't care. And then look your boss in the face and go, screwed up, won't do that again. And then immediately do the thing again. That ain't going to work, man. That ain't going to work. Let's see. Oh, we have a statement from Adam Silver now. Ja Morant's decision to once again wield a firearm on social media is alarming and alarming. Damn it, Adam. Why would you put that word in there?
You're not from Canada. It's alarming.
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 Ja Morant's decision to once again wield a firearm on social media is alarming and disconcerting given his similar conduct in March, for which he was already suspended 8 games. The potential for other young people to emulate Ja's conduct is particularly concerning. Under these circumstances, we believe a suspension of 25 games is appropriate and makes clear that engaging in reckless and irresponsible behavior with guns will not be tolerated. For Ja, basketball needs to take a back seat at this time. Prior to his return to play, he will be required to formulate and fulfill a program with the league that directly addresses the circumstances that led him to repeat this destructive behavior, end quote. I got no problem with any of that statement except the number 25. Let's take a break. When we come back, got a few more things that we need to run to before we get to the end of the radio broadcast. College World Series preview. I'll give you some thoughts there. Take a look and an update at the U.S. Open and a response to a question that got asked on social media that drove me up the wall about Nikola Jokic, actually. But I think it extends to a lot of other players too. And I'll tell you what we mean when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Cables.
All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right here. We'll be right back. All right, internet people, we're back. Any post-credit scenes?
Yes, there's one at the very end.
The very end. The very, very end.
Don't ignore it. Call CNT Foundations. CNT Foundations is different by design. We're not an investor-driven sales organization.
Which is interesting because in most movies, there's not a lot of talking as people are waiting for the end credits. There was during this movie. A lot of discussion of the movie going on around me. Luckily, I listen for a living. It's not eavesdropping. You talk loud enough for me to hear you, then, you're saying here is what I think about something. I feel like it was worth it, Steven. But there again, this is me talking, so I could just be trolling. Because if I say, no, this is really, you really need to see this, then you're thinking, okay, he's messing with me again. I'm going to go. And so there's no way around this.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob. He is the great one, Lonzo. We are glad to have you along for the ride. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. You can also give us a buzz, 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. It is Friday, which means anything and everything goes for the remainder of the show. A couple of things I wanted to get into before we get out of here. There was an internet comment that really kind of bugged me earlier. An article went up about Nikola Jokic, and you guys know I love me some Nikola Jokic. Love me some Nikola Jokic. Vincent Goodwill is a senior NBA reporter for Yahoo Sports, and he wrote an article entitled, Nikola Jokic validated his status among NBA greats. Now he can embrace the spotlight it brings. And I found that really interesting. Because Nikola Jokic, I think almost by definition, not shies from the spotlight. He just actively avoids it, right? Now, Jokic was at the parade yesterday. Denver threw its celebration yesterday. That's where Unc Mike showed up. Mike Malone in the flat bill cap cock sideways, the Oakleys, the thick silver chain, and the stick that in your pipe and smoke it black t-shirt. Unc Mike was on a vibe yesterday. Unc Mike was walking the parade sidelines, though, spraying bottles of champagne on the fans, and they were eating it up. Love Michael Malone. Phenomenal coach. Fiery coach, knows how to get the most out of his team. And when he does, P-A-R-T-Y, because I gotta. Love that dude. That's The Mask, by the way. Jim Carrey, legend. Cameron Diaz in that red dress. Ooh.
I'm still concerned about, spraying alcohol on possibly underaged people in the crowd. That's probably a no-no.
Parade environment.
Might get you suspended 5 games.
Adam Silver math, he's suspended for 1 quarter next season. So there was a guy who responded, and I actually have lost the tweet. It wasn't a listener. It was just some random dude, but I was reading through the responses of this tweeted article on the Twitter device. And the guy said, Jokic will fade unable to live life in the limelight or something like that. I was like, dude, Jokic has that old school mentality. The limelight's not going to bother him because he won't be in it, right? Since the Nuggets won the title, between Monday night and Thursday night, where did we see Nikola Jokic, right? Because I tell you right now, if I played in the NBA, and I won a Naismith, I would be trying to elevate that trophy to Stanley Cup levels. I would be out with that thing everywhere I could take it. I'd be at the bars in downtown Denver. I'd have it on the back of my motorcycle, riding it around. Like, I'd be everywhere with that thing. What'd Nikola do? Nothing. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know what he did. I don't know if he went back to Serbia. I don't know if he flew there Tuesday, hung out Tuesday, Wednesday, came back Thursday. I don't know what he did.
You don't think he has a home somewhere in the
I'm
United
sure
States?
he has one right there in Denver.
So he probably went there for a while.
Right. My bet is Nikola laid up on the couch, maybe took his NBA Finals MVP award into the hot tub and chilled with it. Who knows? There are guys that can handle the spotlight and guys who can't. Zion Williamson cannot handle the spotlight, right?
Plus, Jokic seems like the guy, we've talked about this, he goes to work.
Yeah.
That's his job. He goes to work. When he's done, he goes home. What's the spotlight going to do to a guy who goes home?
Yeah.
If you're boring and what people consider boring, and he doesn't go out and he's not all over the place where he can be seen and stuff, you can be a star without being that kind of star.
Yeah. Look, I would point this out. Nikola Jokic treats the NBA like it is his blue-collar work boot job. I don't fault guys who have that job and have a lovely time doing it. Have a ball, have fun. Lonzo and I show up to work as often as we need to, work as hard as we need to, et cetera, but we still come in here and have a great damn time doing this show.
Almost like it's our job.
Yeah.
Although we could be stodgy and arrogant and I am the arbiter and I can do this and I can, do, but where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
Come and have a good time.
Sure. But at the same time, I don't begrudge a host that doesn't do it if they get the numbers, if they get results, right? If there was a guy down in Florida before I started broadcasting, but on the station I started with, there was an old guy there, right? And this old dude did a show that was only SEC football, only at year-round, only SEC football. And he would get into the mic and he would talk like this. Let's talk about Nick Saban. I respect Nick Saban as a man and a coach. And that was the whole show. And I used to listen to that and it blew my mind. I'm like, what is this? This is trash. But when I got to that station and they showed me that guy's numbers, I was like, dang, dude. Wow. He's producing. You don't have to like it, but he produces.
But somebody does. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean other people don't.
I mean, if there's numbers listening and advertisers who want their product in front of those earballs, you're good, right? That's Jokic. Jokic's game is boring. It's quiet. It's predictable, but it's dominant. You can't argue with it. It's got a title and a Finals MVP to his name. Can't argue with it.
Maybe there are some people who are threatened about how he does things because
that's what I think it is.
And they're afraid that their league, what they're into, is going to become like Jokic.
Yeah. I honestly, I think that's it. I really do. I'm glad you said that because that's exactly where I was going, right? Exactly where I was going. I think that these types of articles are propped up because people are afraid that basketball is going to slide away from a league that is predicated on superstars only and start sliding back towards basketball teams are winning championships, not players, right? You can't jump on LeBron's back and ride him to an NBA Finals. A lot of teams have done that over the course of LeBron's career. You can't just go get 2 stars and wear them out to get to a finals. You're going to have to start building NBA teams. And I think that a lot of people consider that boring. And I'm not saying it will be good or bad for the league. I don't know. But Nikola Jokic is going to be just fine because if you point the spotlight at him, all you're going to see is his closed front door while he's chilling in the crib, as the kids say. I love it. I love it. Nick is going to be just fine with the spotlight, you guys. Just fine. All right. College World Series set to go. Y'all. I have mentioned many times that I think the College World Series is the best postseason in sports. It has everything. It's extended. You get like 4 weeks of postseason college baseball, right? Unlike a week to maybe a week and a half of professional sports playoffs. You get games on constantly. The regionals, the super regionals, Omaha itself. There are minimum 2 games. The regionals day 1 and 2 are 2 of the best sporting days of the year for me. Because the games start at 11 in the morning and they run till midnight. It's great. ESPN did would they call it this year? Throw around or whatever they called it. But you could go to the ESPN app. You could bring that up, and at any given time, so they'd have as many as 5 baseball games on one screen. Just you didn't miss a swing. It was incredible. It was incredible. And by the way, to the texter who just wrote and said, actually, Rob, well, he didn't say actually, Rob, I'm responding that way, but he said, actually, Rob. He said bowl season is the best. No, it's not. Bowl season's great. But does it matter who wins the Cheez-It Bowl? Does it matter who wins the Liberty Bowl? Not really. There are 3 games that matter right now, soon to be increased, but there are 3 games that matter. In the regionals, every game matters. After the opening round of the regional, basically everything after that's elimination. That's incredible. Super regionals, every game matters. Ask the Gamecocks. Omaha, everything matters. Coming out of the losers bracket to win Omaha is wildly difficult to do. It's the best postseason in sports, man. It really is. So there's a couple of things that I'm really excited to looking at. First off, this College World Series is laden with players you're going to see in the MLB one day. They are incredible. There are 9 players in this tournament that ESPN projects as first-round MLB draft picks in July. There are roughly the same amount of underclassmen that are already projecting to be first-round picks. You have incredible pitchers. You have incredible mashers. Jock Cagliano from Florida is one of the sweetest swinging home run hitters you've seen in college ball. Brock Wilken from Wake Forest leads the nation in dingers. And you got multiple of these guys across all teams. We get to see, Dexter says, sir, the Meineke Car Care Bowl is prestigious and will be respected. Big ups to the Car Care Bowl.
Where's that played at?
In the back lot of a Meineke somewhere, I'm assuming. This College World Series is laden with talent. It's not just going to be college, it's going to be good college baseball. Now, I don't love picking odds-on favorites as your eventual champs because normally they aren't, right? Wake Forest might be the most well-constructed baseball team that I've ever watched play. Ever. They have got hitters everywhere. There's not a weak spot in the Wake Forest lineup. That's why they are where they are, led by Brock Wilken. There's nowhere. I think that you are looking at an incredible pitching staff. I think you are looking at maybe the best lineup we've ever seen. Wake Forest has got not 1, but 2 guys that can touch triple digits on the radar gun. This Wake Forest team is unbelievable. The Demon Deacons in this NCAA tournament have outscored their opponents, Lonzo, 75-16 in baseball.
That's pretty good.
That's real good. This team is unbelievably talented. But Oral Roberts, how about Jonah Cox? Freddie Freeman, and granted, it's Major League Baseball, but Freddie Freeman just went on like a 24-game hit streak, and everybody's eyes were turned to him. Jonah Cox for Oral Roberts, including the postseasons, though, has a 47-game active hit streak. 47! That's the entire regular season, dude. That's insane. Paul Skeens from LSU is pitching one of the best regular and postseason combinations that we have ever seen. It's unbelievable right now. Rhett Loader is a pitcher for Wake Forest. He has started 16 games this year. He is 16-0 in those games. It's like every team has got ridiculous star power. This is the best postseason in sports. And again, I tried not to be knee-jerk. I try not to let recency bias get me, and frequently it does. I try my best not to let it do it. But this might possibly, potentially be the best assembly of talent in a College World Series ever. And there have been some legendary ones. But this might be the best assembly of college baseball teams of all time. Omaha got it right. I'm going to pick two teams. And I'm going to say you should bet heavy on one or both of them. I am putting coin down on both Wake Forest and LSU. Those are the two best teams in America. They have both been better than everyone in America since late February. Both of them have been on absolute runs. LSU has not won the College World Series in about 15 years. Wake Forest has not done it since the 50s. One of those two teams is going to do it. They're both incredible, but Florida could have had something to say about it. Tennessee has loved kicking over dogs out from underneath them. Love watching Tennessee play. Oral Roberts is one of the best hitting teams playing small ball in College World Series history. Watch out for the Golden Eagles. But I'm leaning the heavy favorites here. I'm laying some juice and going Wake or LSU. All right, 844-326-3663. Text us 71307. Do we want to play that thing that's been asked about in the chat, Zoe, or do we want to hang on to it?
We can play it, but we can't play it on stream, I don't think.
Yeah, we can. It's ours, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking of the music. I don't think that I used music that is.
Gotcha.
I just
tell you what. We'll keep it in the back pocket for now. Steven asked if he could hear the Star Awards entry that Lonzo put together, and the answer is soon.
Well, the answer will be yes if you listen on the radio.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap this show up. We'll wrap this week up. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Fan Upstate.
Listen, Steven, if you can guarantee that YouTube will not flag the playing of it, I'll play it.
Do you remember what music you used?
It's from the alpha libraries, but I didn't make sure it was whitelist enabled because I never intended to play it on the air.
Fair enough.
So no, I don't remember. You've been in there. Do you remember any of the beds you've used? I mean, not that they don't have cool names, because some of them do, but you know.
hits over 5 2/3 with 6 strikeouts. Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Oh, baby.
I'm Bridget Condon with NFL Network Now on the Western One Radio Network. The Chiefs received their Super Bowl 57 rings during a ceremony in Kansas City Thursday night. Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes, who hit the red carpet.
Come on, Steven. Stop it. Plus, we don't have time because it's 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
So we would not have time to play it today. Next week, we could do it.
Commanders head coach Ron Rivera recently reiterated that quarterback Sam Howell will open the season as the starter. And wide receiver Jahan Dotson agrees, saying he has complete faith in Howell, adding, quote, I think Sam Howell's going to be our guy. This has been NFL Network Now on the Western One Network.
So on Reddit, there's a subreddit called Hypothetical Situations. And basically people throw out what would you do in blank situation hypothetical? And some of them are ridiculous. Some of them are fantastical. Some of them are whimsy. Some of them are sci-fi based. And it's basically a creative writing prompt, right? Like they drop you in a situation. What do you do? And somebody just said, you come across a 1 kilogram brick of cocaine in the woods. What do you do? And the first guy's response was, I give it to a bear.
Makes sense to me.
Steven, I feel like you guys are the parents who keep promising Disney next year over and over again. Well, if the kids would behave. That's not true. It's because mom and dad don't make Disney money.
Yeah, I've never been to Disney. Neither have my children. No, you're enjoying the sound of me pouring it, but it's just water.
It's like a ASMR, man.
I don't even know. Oh, yeah. I sent you something on Twitter.
I just saw it. I'm really excited to watch that.
No.
The Boys?
No.
You sent something else on top of that?
No. I never sent you that.
Oh, Keegan sent me that.
Yeah.
First off, all right. I disrespect the legend, but the camel clutch is one of the worst finishers in history. You should not be able to be defeated by a finisher that requires me to do that.
The Hulk Hogan leg drop is the worst finisher.
I disagree. The leg drop makes sense as...
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it?
If I drop the whole weight of my leg across your throat, you're done. The leg drop makes my... Listen, I don't like Hulk Hogan. The leg drop makes more sense than the camel clutch.
In a properly done camel clutch.
Dude. I'm out of the camel clutch. Granted, I still got my back bent in half, but I can just move my arms. How many times did you see guys get locked in the clutch? Their arm would slip and they'd put it back themselves.
All right, Steiner recliner.
Same thing. Any finishing move that I have to put myself into is not a good finishing move. My finishing move is you running into a wall.
Bailey to belly or belly to Bailey.
It's bad as a finisher because it's just a generic suplex, right?
Right.
If you're going to make a generic move a finisher, you have to do something that makes it more dramatic.
Backwoods is amazing.
The small, that move is amazing because for years we have said, why does small package roll-ups not work more often? They should. And Xavier was like, I got this. Rikishi's finisher is the worst of all time. No, it's not. Rikishi's finisher was legendary.
Real sports talk for real sports fans.
The Fan.
So we're back.
Yeah, well, I grabbed something and it didn't. It played the wrong thing.
The Rob Brown Show's on. You ready? It's the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob Brown. The great one Lonzo is on the ones and twos. You want to be a part of the show?
Yeah, don't call me that after that.
The good one,
The
Lonzo?
adequate.
The adequate one. Yeah, we all got our names when I screw up, right? When I screw up, I call myself by my full name. I yell at myself with full name. Lonzo, from this point forward, shall be called the adequate one.
Yeah, I'm still not that bad, you know?
Okay. We got the U.S. Open going on right now out at the Los Angeles Country Club. How about Ricky Fowler going an 8 under 62? First time in U.S. Open history that anybody has shot below 63, which doesn't really surprise me all that much. You are playing on a par 70 that plays relatively short. You got a couple of long par 3s, one really short one, couple of short par 5s, one really long one. This course was set up for success. This course was set up for low scores today or yesterday, maybe today. They did release the pin layouts, and like I said earlier, the guys in charge of pin layouts were like, yep, screw that. We're going to start torturing the boys today, and they're going to get progressively worse. So I assume that these scores are likely to start coming up a little bit. I don't think tournament organizers who strive to have the winners around par are looking for a tournament winner that is 24 under. But we'll see. Ricky Fowler and Xander Schauffele, both with the 8 under 62 on top of the leaderboard. Clark 7 under, DJ is 6 under, Rory 5 under, even through 1, Harmon 4 under, 1 over through 1, Bryson DeChambeau, Kim, Scotty Scheffler, Barjan, English, Bennett, and Finau, as well as Hughes are all 3 under. Some other notables, Max Homa is 2 under before he gets his round started later on today. Ishikawa is 1 under, John Rahm is 1 under, Victor Hovland is 1 under, Phil is even through 3 on the day, 1 under for the tournament as of right now. Sergio shot even on day 1. So did Stu Cink. Cantlay, Koepka is even through 1 as well. Everybody else is 1 over or worse. This US Open is good, my dudes. Like, it's real good. You should check it out this afternoon. This course is set up for drama, and I'm in love with it. I'm in love with it. Cannot wait to see how this thing plays out. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to Twitter Trending Topics 17 seconds early because I've run out of things to say.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All you got to do is nod. I know I made a mistake a second ago, but I would have caught the cue.
Whatever.
And I would have hit it. Time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending, he will tell us why. The first thing is trending is Petty Mahomes.
Petty Mahomes. I'm assuming he's not gotten involved with Richard. I did see that. So the Chiefs got their rings yesterday. And
This has something to do with that.
Ridiculous. Yes. I saw Travis Kelce vowed it to the media that he would party harder than Patrick Mahomes no matter what Mahomes did.
That's not why.
Okay, why is Petty
all right
trending?
So earlier in the week, a certain Cincinnati quarterback was asked who the best quarterback in the league was, and he said Patrick Mahomes. His receiver, Jamar Chase, was asked, and he said, and I quote, Pat who? So Mahomes tweeted a picture of himself with 2 rings and said, that's who.
Yes. Yes.
Also, I just want you to know, Jamar Chase has disrespected the Kansas City Chiefs.
It's over.
It's done.
Over.
It's done. Might as well save room for that third ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, put every paycheck from now until September on the Chiefs to win the title. We're all going to be millionaires because the Chiefs got disrespected.
And I
understand how bad that joke's going to backfire on me if the Chiefs go back to back.
Yeah, well,
so much.
I'll be okay with it. Whoever got that trending, Petty Mahomes, I'm guessing is probably a Buffalo Bills fan. All right, the next thing that's trending is Carlito.
Is cool. Here's a random story. I had there was a girl down in Destin, a tall redheaded girl that I went on 5-6 dates with, and a sweetheart of a girl. She's from New Orleans, big Saints fan. Like, we clicked. We were going really well. Absolute sweet girl. And then we all went to WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. I was working for the TV station at the time, right? And we didn't go together. We just happened to both be there. She went for another reason. We were like, hey, let's meet up out on Bourbon Street, right? We're here together. Let's meet up on Bourbon Street. So we did. And I went to kiss her. We were kind of like at that point. And she's like, I can't. And I was like, why? And she's like, something happened last night that we can't date. And I said, why? And she goes, I hooked up with somebody. And I was kind of bummed. We weren't like super serious, but I was a little bummed. I'm like, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, you know, wrestling. And I'm like, yeah. She goes, I slept with Carlito last night.
Wow.
And I was like,
okay.
I can't even be mad, dude.
I mean,
I can't even be mad. This girl was a stunner. I was like, I can't even be mad. Like, I want to be mad at you and be like, what the hell, dude? Like, I thought, well, again, we weren't really serious. There were no titles. It was like, we're kind of in I think the kids call it talking nowadays. She's like, I can't. She's like, I like you. I have feelings for you, but I slept with Carlito last night. And I'm like, well, he's Carlito cool.
You think after the throes of passion, Carlito eats an apple?
After?
Okay.
Probably doesn't during.
All right. That's just weird.
Is this as good for you as it is for me?
That is just weird. All right. One more thing. Father's Day.
Wait, why is Carlito trending?
Oh, he's trending because
Everybody wants him back?
he was scheduled to be on an indie thing, and he can't because it's rumored that he's coming back to WWE.
Let's go.
Especially after what he just did in Puerto Rico.
All right, what was the thing?
Father's Day.
Father's Day. That's Sunday, isn't it?
It is.
You all you dads out there, you all have permission to go play golf on Sunday. 36 holes. I'll give you 2 rounds of permission. You're welcome. Tell your better half it's from the Rob Brown Show. Tell them Rob Brown allowed it. Ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely day. If you'll be at the Greenville Drive game tonight, so will I. Come up and say hi. I'd love to see you. I'm not even working the game tonight. I'm just going as a fan. Yay! So if you're there, come see me. Otherwise, follow us on social, and we'll see you back here Monday to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Goodbye. Later, brother. The goodbye thing is for the internet, but I put it on the radio. I screwed up.
What?
What are you going to do? I said goodbye like I do the stream, but I did it on the radio.
It's okay. It was an adequate goodbye, though.
It was.
That's all that matters.
Caribbean, cool. Yeah, I was like, when she told me that, I had this weird reaction because on one side of my brain, I was wildly disappointed because I was like, oh, I like this girl. Like, I thought this was going somewhere. And honestly, I still even would have considered being in a relationship with her. I'd be like, I get it, right? Like, if we were in the initial dating phase and Trish Stratus wanted to go home with me, yeah, I'm doing that. And you'll just have to get over it. On the other side of my brain, I was like, I'm getting the same caliber of chicks as Carlito. I'm cool. Yeah, I really hope my mom wasn't listening to that. So I just realized that. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all fabulous people. Thanks for hanging out. I will be doing some stuff on social this weekend because outside of the show tomorrow, I got nothing to do this weekend. I'm very excited about it. I plan on taking full advantage. So follow us on the social. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you back here Monday. Thanks for watching. Share it around with your friends and family. Goodbye.